Ah, it's great to be home once again. Oh, hello! Greetings, everybody. It feels good to be back after all those winters. Anyway, since you have saw me do my review of Legacy of Kain and also the review of BloodRayne, those two vampire video games, all of a sudden this happens. One of the fans created this. Kain loves Rayne. And of course, much to my surprise, I noticed Mr. Multi-Voice Reviewer drew this. Kain meets Rayne. With their symbols and the names and them holding their hands, raising their weapons. I have to say, this is a very interesting premise. You know, I never done this before, but this is what Multi-Voice Reviewer have been doing lately. Make it into a theory. A crossover theory. And today's theory is Kain loves Rayne. Now I seen how this whole premise goes and the origin. I mean, it's kind of interesting to let a vampire who is a balanced guardian fall in love with a vampire, part human, part vampire, who is a member of the Brimstone Society. They're vampire hunters. And how would they meet for the first time? Let's see. Some would say it would happen in the future, and some would say it would happen in the past. And I guess it should have taken place, say, like, after Kain killed the Elder God at the end of Legacy of Kain. And I think this would happen, and this is exactly how it's go. Kain will fall asleep in slumber. After all those years, crickets. Haven't heard of these in a long time. Anyway, Kain lived his life in slumber. Keep on having dreams about a red-headed vampire. And he keeps on thinking, are these visions of the future? Or just an imagination of his mind? But as it turns out, they're all real. Since Raziel, who enchanted himself inside of his sword, the Soul Reaver, he starts raking Kain up. And Kain rocks up into the future after BloodRayne 2 happened, where a whole monster of vampires starts roaming the world. And Kain noticed that the balance between humans and vampires, he noticed that the vampire counts is starting to get way up. So it's up to Kain to figure out who is responsible, figure out who's doing all this. So Kain went outside and saw everything. Army of monstrous vampires, slaughtering people from left and right. Now Kain noticed if the vampire kills the human race, there'll be no blood for any vampire who would live. So therefore he starts killing all those evil demonic vampires run by run. And after all those years slicing and dicing all those monstrous vampires, all of a sudden from his eyes, I think this is exactly how Kain would say. During my years of slumber, dreaming about a red-headed vampire, I have slashed and destroyed every single demonic vampire who dare try to kill the human race. And after my years of slaughtering every vampire demon, it was then I saw her for the first time. The vampire. You see, as Kain was killing all the monstrous vampires, he found Rayne. And as it turns out, her arms were held by two vampire monsters. And one of the vampire monsters, they all decided to wear hoods and masks. And that one vampire was about ready to kill Rayne. So Kain jumps in and killed all the vampires around, while Rayne holds out her sword and killed those other two. And therefore, Kain and Rayne meet for the first time. And of course, she'll be like, "Who are you?" And Kain says, "I am Kain. Even though I am a vampire, I am a balance guardian. I am here to set the balance between humans and vampires. But I wonder, I've been having visions of you in my slumber. You don't mind if I ask who you are?" And Rayne would say, "They call me Rayne, member of the Brimstone Society." Brimstone Society, huh? Vampire hunters, I presume? Why, yes. Well, at least they're not like the Sarafan vampire hunters I've been battling against for centuries. Sarafan? You mean those humans who kills vampires and start worshipping false gods who are actually demons from hell? Precisely. That's why I became a balance guardian, so I can keep the balance of power between humans and vampires. Back in my years, all the Sarafans, they were getting in touch from the demons from hell, so therefore they all had to be destroyed. Him and my old friend named Raziel. And his sword, which is Raziel's soul, said, Nice cover, Kain. Shut up. So therefore, Kain and Rayne decided to work together. And of course, when Kain saw one vampire getting so weak, he grabbed him and said, Tell me, monster, who is your master? And the deadly vampire says, His name is Matthias. And Kain said, Thank you for that notice. And then he cut the vampire's head off. And during their years, searching throughout every evil vampire who needs to be destroyed, Rayne asked him, Who is Matthias? An old vampire who used to be on my side, but he was a very weak vampire. I lost him during my years of my reign. You see, I had an army of vampires by my side, but most of them surrendered and served with the Sarafan. I just thought I killed every one of my traitors until I discovered Matthias is involved. He is the least powerful vampire of all, and he is desperate on finding all sorts of powers and ability that he would be able to be the powerful one of all. For this time, I will destroy him. But tell me, Rayne, I notice that you are a vampire. How could it be possible? Your father was a vampire and your mother was human? Yes, a vampire named Kagan. He attacked my mother, and that's when I was born. Huh. What about you? How did you become a vampire? Well, I was a valiant knight until I was ambushed and stabbed in the heart. And a necromancer who goes by the name of Martanius ripped my heart out and gave me a black heart owned by the oldest vampire ever existed, goes by the name of Janos Aldrin. I see. And I was sent here to be the balanced guardian. Little did I know, I was sent to sacrifice myself, but I refused. So therefore, I killed Mortanius instead, and had my own army of vampires. But long story short, let's just say I just gone my way. Huh. But after all this is over, I want to go back to my slumber, in case... Unless if there's another vampire or another human become powerful between the two, I will return, along with my sword, Raziel. Your sword is named Raziel? Of course. And of course, throughout those nights, they, got themselves into a cabin, and, well, make a long story short, they made love, okay? And that's the only time I decided to talk about that in my own story. But I'm not going to give you any details, so forget it. Anyway, they finally discovered where Matthias is at. So they both worked together, and they found Matthias. Matthias is like, "You, Kain, I never thought you'd be back." "Hello, Matthias. It's been a long time. And I see you got a Dhampir with you. Are you joining with me, or what?" "On the contrary, Matthias. During those years when you betrayed me, I would like to have your head as my trophy." "So be it. Attack!" And all the monsters fight. All the monstrous vampires fighting against Kain and Rayne, and they're all taking them down run by run. And then all of a sudden, Matthias come towards Kain, about ready to kill him. "You always been the most powerful one, Kain, but this time I will end you." Shot! Turns out Rayne stabbed him in the heart, and Rayne bit him on the neck, sucking his blood. And Kain grabbed Matthias and bit him on the other side of his neck and drank his blood. And therefore, Matthias was gone for good. And as they know that his army of vampires are gone, Kain discovered they have to go their separate ways. Besides, if Kain comes with her, the Brimstone Society would kill him. So, and Kain decided that he's going to go back to his tomb, back into his slumber. So, they both said farewell and walked off. And Kain looked at Rayne and says this. "One thing I gotta say, Raziel. This Rayne, she is a monster. A beautiful monster." And that is the end of my crossover theory of Kain loves Rayne. And you know, every time I kept on doing this review, you know, this song has been playing in my head. You know, that Mark Anthony song. You know, the one that goes like this. "And I only feel alive when I dream at night." Every move that she makes holds my eyes. 'Cause I only feel alive when I dream at night. Even though she's not there, it's alright. And I mourn for her every time. Sometimes some songs do play in my head when I think about something. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to where I'm gonna go. Find me something to eat. But Mr. Multi-Voice Reviewer will return as the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. 'Cause he has other things to review, so you better stay tuned. For tonight, it's time to say goodbye to Dracula. Hold on. So long.